Henry Revis didn't expect his trap to scream. He was halfway through his morning sweep when the jungle went silent. No insects, no winged scavengers, no distant predator calls. Just one sharp, terrified voice, high, melodic, and unmistakably intelligent. Henry froze mid-step. 3 years on Arctis 9 had sharpened his instincts past military standard. When the jungle quieted, something dangerous was breathing nearby. He moved without sound, rifle low, eyes scanning. The modified drop net ahead trembled violently. That trap was designed for thorn beasts, 600-pound, apex predators with bone spines and acid saliva. Not this. Suspended 2 meters above the ground, tangled in reinforced fiber mesh was a woman, or something close enough to shatter his assumptions. Violet skin shimmered under filtered sunlight. Long, dark purple hair spilled around her shoulders like liquid ink. A sleek black bodysuit clung to her frame, organic, braided like living vines. Her golden eyes locked onto him. Fear. Raw. Absolute. She spoke rapidly in an unknown language, then abruptly switched to perfect English. "Please don't eat me." Henry blinked. "Eat you?" "I know humans are carnivorous predators," she cried, struggling against the net. "I won't taste good, I swear." Despite himself, he barked a short laugh. "Lady," he said calmly, stepping closer. "I don't eat people." She went still. "You don't?" "Not part of my weekly diet." Confusion warred with terror in her eyes. Henry slung his rifle over his back and approached carefully. Her pulse was visible along her neck. Skin tone fluctuating, deeper violet, then pale. Emotional response mechanism. Interesting. He reached for the trap mechanism. "Hold still. I'll lower you." "You promise?" she whispered. "I don't break promises." The net released. She fell. Henry caught her. She weighed almost nothing. For a heartbeat, they froze like that. Her breath warm against his chest, his pulse steady, her skin darkening again, slower this time. He set her down gently. "Name's Henry." She swallowed. "Threya, of the Nixan Research Collective." "Research." Henry's smile faded slightly. "Researching what?" She hesitated. You." The jungle behind them rustled. Heavy, spiked, thorn beasts. Threya's eyes widened. "They followed me." Henry grabbed his rifle. "Then congratulations," he muttered, stepping in front of her. "You found the right predator." And the first roar split the trees in half. The thorn beast crashed through the undergrowth like a freight train made of bone. 600 pounds. Spiked carapace. Acid drool hissing where it struck leaves. Threya stumbled back. Henry didn't. He adjusted his stance. Controlled breathing. Wind direction checked. Distance measured. 40 meters. The beast charged. Henry fired once. The armor-piercing round struck the joint beneath the creature's forward plate. Exactly where he'd aimed. It collapsed mid-stride, skidding through mud and broken ferns. Silence. Threya stared at him. "You calculated its weakness in less than a second." 3 years of field study," Henry replied calmly, ejecting the casing. "Your people just watch from orbit?" She hesitated. "Yes." Another rustle. 2 more thorn beasts emerged. Henry swore under his breath. He could drop one, maybe both, but not before one reached her. He stepped backward toward her without looking. "Cabin's 5 minutes north. Can you run?" "Yes." "Good, stay behind me." The second beast lunged. Henry fired twice in rapid succession. First shot deflected. Second found the eye. It screamed. The third one charged straight for Threya. Henry moved. He didn't aim. He tackled her. They hit the ground hard as the beast's claws tore, through where she'd been standing. Mud, breath knocked out, her skin flushed deep indigo beneath him. Henry rolled, came up kneeling, fired point blank into the creature's exposed underthroat. It dropped. The jungle returned to uneasy quiet. Threya lay beneath him, breathing fast. "You risked yourself," she whispered. "For a research subject." Henry stood and offered her a hand. "You're not a subject." Her skin darkened again, slower now. Warmer tone. "That's not what my people believe." Henry scanned the tree line. "Then your people are about to be very disappointed." A faint hum vibrated in the air above them. Threya froze. "That sound?" Henry's jaw tightened. He knew engines when he heard them. "Aerial." Scanning pattern. Military grade. She looked at him. "They found me." Henry grabbed her wrist. "Then we move now." Above the canopy, something metallic cut across the sky. And it wasn't here for a rescue. The sky above the canopy shimmered. Not clouds. Not weather. Technology. Henry dragged Threa beneath the thickest cluster of iron bark trees as a triangular. Craft slid into view, silent. Matte black, edges glowing faint blue. It wasn't armed like a warship. It didn't need to be. A scanning pulse rippled outward. Threa gasped. They're sweeping for Nixan biosignatures. Henry crouched, studying the craft's flight pattern. Frequency? Rotational sweep. Expanding radius. They'll detect me in under 2 minutes. Can they detect me? No, humans aren't cataloged here. Henry's jaw tightened. Then you're the problem. She flinched but nodded. Yes. The scanner pulsed again. Closer. Her skin shifted, lightening uncontrollably. They'll know I've been in physical contact, she whispered. Your biochemistry altered mine. Henry looked at her sharply. Altered how? I don't know yet. But the signature deviation will flag contamination. Contamination? That word carried weight. Not rescue. Retrieval. Containment. Henry made the call instantly. Run north. 50 meters. There's a stream with high mineral runoff. Get in, stay submerged. You? I'll distract them. Her eyes widened. They'll kill you. Not before I make it expensive. The craft lowered slightly. A beam of blue light lanced downward, systematic, precise. Threa hesitated only a second, then sprinted. Graceful. Fast. The beam shifted toward her. Henry fired at it. Not to hit. To provoke. The rifle crack split the jungle. The craft reacted instantly, rotating toward the muzzle flash. Henry bolted in the opposite direction, crashing deliberately through brush. Predator behavior. Draw the bigger predator away. Another scan pulse expanded. Closer to him now. Good. He slid behind a fallen trunk, popped up, fired again, this time striking the underside plating. Sparks. The craft jerked upward. Not damaged, but annoyed. Perfect. He moved again, forcing it to track. Minutes passed like gunpowder. Then, the hum shifted. Higher pitch. Search narrowing. Henry swore. They weren't chasing him anymore. They'd reacquired her. Henry didn't think. He moved. He cut hard east, angling for the mineral stream. The jungle fought him. Vines, thorns, roots. The scan pulse intensified. The craft was hovering. Locked. He burst through foliage. And saw her, half submerged in the mineral runoff, water shimmering silver around her violet skin. But it wasn't enough. The beam pinned her in place. She screamed, not in pain, but frustration. They're isolating the variants. Henry raised his rifle. Useless. He couldn't outshoot a spacecraft. So he did something else. He ran straight into the beam. It hit him like stepping into static lightning. Every hair on his body stood on end. Muscles locked. Vision blurred. But he stayed upright. Threa stared at him in shock. What are you doing? If I altered your signature, he gritted through the electrical pressure, then they can scan both of us. He grabbed her wrist. Skin to skin. The beam flared brighter. Alarms echoed faintly from the craft above. Data spike. Unexpected. Conflicting readings. Human. Nixan. Merged variants. The beam flickered. Threa's eyes widened. They can't separate the source. Henry's knees buckled. Pain lanced through his nervous system. Worth it. The craft rose suddenly, beam retracting. Hovering. Calculating. Uncertain. For the first time, it hesitated. Henry collapsed into the stream, breathing hard. Threa pulled him up, hands shaking. You could have died. He coughed, forcing a grin. Still might. Above them, the craft began transmitting, calling reinforcements. Threa's expression changed. Not fear. Realization. They won't leave now. How many? She looked at the sky. Enough. Henry followed her gaze. 3 new engine signatures pierced the cloud layer. He exhaled slowly. All right, he muttered. Then we stopped running, and the sky darkened with ships. The ships didn't land. They formed a perimeter. 4 matte black craft locked into a diamond pattern over the jungle canopy, humming with controlled power. Not warships, containment vessels. Henry dragged Threa deeper into the tree line, away from the stream. Cabin? She asked, breath uneven. Compromised. They'll sweep known structures first. Another pulse rolled outward, stronger than before. Leaves trembled. Birds erupted from treetops. Threa flinched. They're escalating to quantum layer scans. Meaning? They'll map molecular disruption. They're not just tracking me anymore. Her golden eyes met his. They're tracking us. Henry absorbed that. Us. Above, one ship detached and descended. A ramp extended mid-air. Figures stepped into open sky and lowered slowly on beams of light. 6 of them. Tall, violet-skinned, armored in sleek exoframes. Not scientists. Security. Henry's expression hardened. Rescue team doesn't bring soldiers. No, Threa whispered. They bring soldiers for extraction. One of the armored Nixan activated a field emitter. The air shimmered between trees, cutting off retreat. They were corralling them. Henry scanned terrain rapidly. Escape vector, South Ridge. Downside, exposed rock shelf. Upside, narrow access point. Can you climb? He asked. Yes. Good, we break left on my mark. The nearest Nixan raised an arm. A focused stasis pulse blasted through the trees, turning a massive trunk to crystal ash. Message received. Henry stepped into partial view deliberately. Rifle lowered but visible. The lead Nixan's helmet retracted, revealing sharp features and cold golden eyes. Human Henry Rivas, the alien voice amplified. Release research asset Threa immediately. Asset. Henry's grip tightened. She's not your property. She is Nixan jurisdiction. Threa stepped beside him. I am not defective equipment. The security leader ignored her. Human interference has contaminated a classified xenobiological study. Stand down. Henry slowly shook his head. You've got the wrong read. The alien tilted its head. Clarify. She chose to stay. A flicker of uncertainty crossed the Nixan's face. Brief, then gone. Choice is irrelevant. The field emitter intensified. Air pressure shifted. Henry leaned closer to Threa. Mark. They ran. Blaster fire carved through trees behind them. Not lethal shots. Disabling. Henry recognized the pattern instantly. They want us alive. That doesn't mean unharmed, Threa said grimly. They reached the southern ridge, a jagged incline of volcanic rock rising above the jungle. Henry scrambled up first, hauling Threa after him. Energy bolts struck stone inches from their hands. At the crest, he turned and saw the problem. 2 more security units already waited above. They had predicted the route. Smart. Henry raised his rifle. A stasis wave hit him mid-aim. His body locked. Muscles seized. He hit the ground hard. Threa screamed his name, one of the Nixan advanced weapon glowing. Human physiology is resilient, the armored figure observed. But not immune. Threa stepped between them. Stop, you don't understand what's happening. We understand contamination. Her skin darkened, not with fear, with fury. You are witnessing evolution. The security leader approached slowly. Step aside, research asset. No. The leader raised its weapon toward Henry's immobilized form. Then both subjects will be secured. Henry fought the paralysis. Military training screamed at him. Conserve oxygen. Micro-movement override neural shock. Pain burned through his nervous system. His finger twitched. Again. The alien adjusted aim, and the jungle exploded. A thorn beast burst from the tree line behind the security unit. Drawn by energy discharge, 600 pounds of bone and rage slammed into Nixan armor. Chaos. Henry's paralysis broke. He rolled, grabbed his rifle, fired twice into the beast's exposed spine joint, dropping it before it crushed. Threa. Silence fell again. Broken armor smoked. The security unit lay motionless beneath the beast's corpse. The others recalibrated weapons instantly. This time, they switched to lethal charge. The leader's voice came cold. New directive, eliminate the human variable. Threa stepped in front of him. Then you'll have to shoot through me. Weapons powered up. And this time, they weren't bluffing. The weapons hummed. Lethal charge. Henry saw the shift instantly. Color. Frequency changed from blue to white-hot amber. No more capture protocol. Threa didn't move. If you fire, she said steadily, you kill a Nixan citizen. The security leader's voice remained cold. You are compromised. Then scan me, she snapped. Fully, not for contamination. For alteration. A beat. Henry kept his rifle trained but knew he'd get one shot at best. The leader signaled. A focused beam swept over Threa. Her skin reacted violently, violet deepening into near black. bioluminescent veins flickering beneath the surface. Data streamed across the Nixon's visor. The leader froze. Explain this variance. Threa swallowed but held her ground. My biochemistry has bonded. The word landed heavy. Bonded? Another unit repeated. With him, silence. Henry felt it too, the way her skin pulsed differently when he was near. The scanner earlier had confirmed it. Not damage, integration, the leader recalculated. Cross-species molecular synchronization is statistically impossible. Henry smirked slightly. Humans specialize in impossible. The Nixon hesitated. That hesitation saved them, because the perimeter ships above suddenly shifted formation. Not tightening, backing off. A new voice crackled through the security channel. Older, authoritative. Stand down, Unit Theta. The soldiers stiffened instantly. A fifth craft descended, sleeker marked with silver fractal sigils. Not military. Scientific command. The ramp lowered. One figure stepped out. Indigo skin. Long ceremonial mantle. Threa's breath caught. Director Vale. The leader of the Nixan Xenobiology Directorate. His gaze swept the ridge, the fallen thorn beast, the damaged unit. Then he looked at Henry. Measured. Curious. Human, Vial said calmly. You have complicated my research. Henry lowered his rifle slightly. Wasn't my intention. I believe that, Vial replied. And that was somehow worse. They weren't bound. Not yet. Vial ordered the soldiers back but kept weapons powered. Explain, he demanded. Threa stepped forward. I initiated unsanctioned field contact. Henry glanced at her sharply. That wasn't fully true, but she was taking responsibility. Vial's eyes narrowed. You risked destabilizing decades of observation. You observed, she shot back. You never understood. Murmurs rippled among the units. Vial studied Henry openly now. Human, did you manipulate her? Henry met his gaze without flinching. No. Did you coerce? No. Did you exploit perceived fear? Henry's jaw tightened. I cut her out of a trap. Then I fought off predators your drones didn't warn her about. A pause. Vial shifted focus back to Threa. Your molecular readings show neural synchronization spikes during proximity. Yes. Explain. She inhaled slowly. When he entered the scan beam with me, our biosignatures merged temporarily. Not contamination, convergence. Vial's expression didn't change, but the soldiers shifted uneasily. That is not supported by Nixan biological law. Then your law is outdated. Henry almost smiled. Vial looked back at him. You stand very calmly for a primitive. Henry shrugged lightly. Used to being underestimated. Another silence. Then, Threa staggered. Henry caught her instantly. Her skin flared brilliant violet white. Pain. Real. What is it? He demanded. She looked up at him, eyes wide. It's accelerating. Vial's composure cracked. Accelerating what? Threa's hand pressed to her abdomen. And for the first time, Henry felt it too. A pulse. Not hers. The scanner units activated instantly. Vial moved forward sharply. Do not interfere, Henry warned. But Vale was already reading data. And the data was impossible. Energy signatures spiked from Threa's core. Structured, rhythmic. Developing. Vial's voice dropped to a whisper. No. One of the soldiers stepped back. This cannot occur without genetic compatibility. Henry looked at Threa. She looked at him. Understanding hit both at once. This is from the scan beam, she breathed. When you synchronized with me, the pulse strengthened. Not violent, growing. Vial stared at the readings in open disbelief. Human genetic architecture is chaotic. It does not integrate. Henry's expression hardened. Maybe you've been reading us wrong. The pulse came again, stronger. Threa gasped, but there was awe in her face, not fear. It's viable. Vial staggered back one step. The security leader whispered, cross-species reproduction. Confirmed. The jungle felt very small, because this wasn't a relationship scandal anymore. This was evolutionary upheaval. Vial straightened slowly. His voice changed. No longer clinical. Political. This will fracture the council. Henry stepped closer to Threa protectively. Then maybe it's time something fractured. Vial studied them both, then looked up at the hovering ships. If the council declares this an existential anomaly, he said quietly, They will not send scientists next time. Henry understood instantly. Warships. Threa squeezed his hand. The pulse inside her strengthened again. Vile made a decision. Return to your cabin, he ordered the soldiers. They hesitated. That is not a request. The units withdrew. But Vale remained. He looked at Henry one final time. You have forced evolution's hand. Henry met his gaze evenly. Wasn't trying to. I know. Vale turned toward his ship. But the council will. The craft descended. The perimeter ships followed. The ridge fell silent. Henry exhaled slowly. Threa leaned into him. It's only the beginning, she whispered. Above the clouds, transmission signals flared toward orbit. And somewhere far beyond the jungle, the Nixan High Council received proof that humans were no longer just subjects of study. They were a variable. The chamber was colossal. Crystalline walls refracted light into fractured rainbows, bouncing across hundreds of Nixan delegates seated in concentric rings. At the apex stood the council, indigo-skinned and draped in ceremonial mantles. Henry's bare chest drew stares, some incredulous, others fascinated, but he didn't flinch. Threa clung to his arm, her violet skin pulsing subtly, signaling both fear and determination. High Counselor Thex's voice cut through the murmurs. You have brought us an anomaly. Henry's gaze swept the room. Calm, measured, unafraid. Yes, an anomaly, but not a mistake. A younger council member gasped audibly. Your child is already developing beyond predicted parameters. Henry nodded. Humans adapt. We evolve in real time, and we love fiercely. That's our advantage. The chamber erupted. Protest, whispers, disbelief. Threa stepped forward, her voice precise. Your scanners show accelerated growth. But that is not a failure. It is evidence of integration, of compatibility, of what can happen when species connect instead of dominate. Henry added, You treated us like subjects. I say we are equals, and now the proof stands inside her. He placed a hand over Threa's stomach. A stunned silence followed. Then Vale spoke, his tone cautious, almost reverent. The genetic readings, unprecedented, human Nixan synthesis, perfect viability. The council's own scientists scrambled to confirm, muttering, adjusting, scanning again. But every new reading confirmed the impossible. Threa met Henry's gaze. We're not hiding. We're proving what you've ignored for centuries. Thex rose slowly, the weight of authority pressing down. This violates protocol. Sanctioned science cannot allow such unsupervised interaction. Henry's jaw tightened. You thought science was about control. It's about understanding, and you've misunderstood humans entirely. Thex paused. Studying. Henry, as if measuring the raw human will against millennia of Nixan doctrine. Then show us, Henry continued. Don't just watch. Watch the life that comes from choice, not experiment. Watch how connection creates something your rules cannot contain. Threa's skin rippled a deep violet, veins of gold tracing across her form, a visible heartbeat of their union. Every pulse broadcasted through the council's sensors, unignorable, undeniable. One counselor whispered awed, It's beautiful. Henry didn't hesitate. We are unpredictable, chaotic, adaptive. We survive because we improvise. We evolve and we care. And now our child will do the same. You cannot stop evolution. Another young scientist stepped forward. If this is allowed, the implications, genetic, societal, are massive. Henry nodded, leaning close to Threa. Exactly. And that's the point. You study humans like lab rats. We are more than that. We are creators. Days passed in testimony, debate, and observation. The council's initial outrage softened into cautious fascination. The hybrid embryo continued to develop at an accelerated pace. Healthy, strong, unmistakably viable. Outside, Henry and Threa returned to their cabin, their sanctuary, their fortress, their home. The jungle hummed with life, alien and earthly merged. Henry brushed his fingers along Threa's violet arm. You realize we just changed everything? She smiled, her skin shimmering in waves of pride and warmth. Everything. And no protocol, no rule, no council could stop it. Our child, our union proves the point. A soft pulse radiated from her abdomen, a rhythmic beat of life. Henry pressed his ear close. And that pulse, he murmured, is the first signal of a new future. For humans, for Nixans, for both of us. Outside the cabin, the Nixan High Council began revising protocols. Human-Nixan hybridization was no longer theoretical. It was reality, and everyone in the galaxy would take notice. Henry held Threa close, their bare skin pressed together under the filtered sunlight. We caught each other in a trap. But the trap didn't capture us. It set us free. She laughed softly, violet and golden patterns rippling across her form. From this, a new world begins, and above the jungle canopy, alien stars reflected, in their eyes, witnesses to the union that would change the universe.